It's like, where's the mic? Where's the mic? At one point, Meghan even yelled, where? Give me a mic. But they didn't give it to her. Meanwhile, Prince Harry stood tall, delivering a carefully prepared speech, every eye in the room locked on him. The atmosphere was formal, respectful, and serious. Yet there was this man in a purple jacket trying to block Meghan from stepping onto the stage. Despite the resistance, Meghan Markle strode onto the stage without warning. No cue, no invitation, just a bold move that left the audience holding its breath. She went around him, ignoring his attempt to stop her, and the crowd murmured in shock. Harry stiffened when she appeared, turning his head just enough to acknowledge her presence. But this time, unlike in the past, he didn't hand over the microphone. Harry had full control of the mic. When Meghan walked on stage, he could have said, "Oh, here's my wife," and passed it to her. But he didn't. The crowd watched in stunned silence, realizing they were witnessing something no royal press release would ever admit: a public clash between the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The same man who had rejected giving Meghan a microphone in the past stood nearby, watching her without concern. For years, the narrative had been simple: Harry stepping aside so Meghan could shine. He had always been the one to give her the spotlight, bowing to her presence and ensuring she felt recognized. But not tonight. This moment flipped their dynamic upside down. And the audience's reaction was not applause, not even polite claps, just an icy silence, so heavy it felt like a warning shot. Meghan tried to keep the mood light, joking, "You keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now. I like working hard." But her words did little to break the tension. The truth was undeniable. What had just happened on that stage was the beginning of something far bigger. What unfolded wasn't just an interruption. It was a chain reaction of humiliation, media manipulation, and whispers of betrayal that would follow them long after the lights dimmed. If the silence of that crowd was brutal, what insiders would later reveal about the fallout behind closed doors was even harsher. Harry had been delivering his speech with calm precision when Meghan made her bold entrance. She stepped toward him with the kind of confidence that once drew admiration, but instead of admiration, the room froze in confusion. Harry's eyes narrowed as Meghan placed her hand gently on his back, signaling for the spotlight. In the past, this simple gesture always ended with him handing her the microphone. Not this time. His grip tightened, his posture straightened, and he carried on speaking. That small refusal, almost imperceptible unless you were paying close attention, was monumental. It was defiance, a power shift in real time. Meghan, still searching for a mic, smiled brightly, almost too brightly, her energy clashing with the tension that gripped the room. Under the glare of cameras, what should have been a smooth, united moment turned into something awkward and uncomfortable, like watching a private argument spill into public view. Meghan lingered at Harry's side, forcing a smile, clearly waiting for acknowledgement. But Harry pressed forward with his speech, his voice steady, his eyes fixed on the audience. The crowd, however, did not respond. No clapping, no murmurs, not even polite laughter. Just silence. The kind of silence that screamed louder than boos. Meghan's smile stayed fixed, but with every passing second, the tension grew heavier. Observers later described the air in the room as ice cold, as though everyone sensed something was wrong, but no one dared to intervene. Eventually, Meghan shifted her weight and retreated toward the sidelines. The walk back wasn't long, but it might as well have been a mile. Each step away from Harry felt like a concession, an admission that the audience had chosen its side, and it wasn't hers. By the next morning, however, the narrative had changed. Mainstream outlets avoided airing the unedited footage. Instead, glossy photos circulated of Meghan smiling confidently beside Harry, both appearing perfectly in sync. To the casual observer, nothing seemed unusual. The tension and rejection had been carefully trimmed out, replaced with polished images to rewrite the story. Social media told a different version. Clips of the raw moment went viral, showing Meghan stepping forward, the crowd freezing, Harry refusing to surrender the microphone. Millions watched the uncut reality that official outlets had chosen to conceal. Critics accused the media of shielding Meghan from humiliation, while her supporters insisted the silence was exaggerated. But the undeniable truth was that two versions of the event now existed, one polished, one raw. The clash had been edited not just to soften the story, but to invert it entirely. This raised uncomfortable questions. If this moment was rewritten, how many others had been hidden from public view? Because the deeper you look, the more obvious it becomes. This wasn't just about one speech, one microphone. It was about control. For years, Harry was portrayed as the man who gave Meghan the stage, bending over backward to let her lead. But this time, in front of thousands, he drew a boundary. That single refusal wasn't just about a speech. It hinted at a deeper fracture in their marriage and their public image. Behind the polished smiles, a battle over family, tradition, and identity was unfolding. Harry, insiders say, longs for his children to connect with his heritage, imagining Archie attending Eton like generations of royals before him. For him, it's not just education but legacy. Meghan, however, resists any return to the UK, determined to raise their children in California. Insiders whisper that Meghan has blocked discussions of British schooling unless certain concessions, financial or otherwise, are made. To some, it looks less like compromise and more like leverage. Harry, once willing to follow, now appears increasingly frustrated. Their children have become pawns in a larger struggle between tradition and independence, loyalty and rebellion. Observers note that at events like this one, Meghan is being carefully managed. After the microphone clash, organizers quietly ensured she was kept out of the spotlight for the rest of the evening. She was escorted to a side seat, close enough to be visible but far from center stage. It wasn't announced, but the message was clear. Her role had been downgraded. Her dazzling gown under harsh lights looked ill-fitted, her smile strained. As Harry mingled with guests, Meghan sat stiffly, clapping when expected but rarely engaged. For a woman used to commanding attention, the silence from the crowd and the coolness from organizers was its own humiliation. At the same time, Buckingham Palace played its usual game. Headlines were contradictory, some framing Harry as a respected prince, others highlighting his loss of titles. This wasn't sloppy reporting, it was strategy. By keeping his role ambiguous, the palace keeps the Sussexes dangling, never fully in, never fully out. Meghan's polarizing presence ensures they remain in headlines, their every move dissected. Like Sarah Ferguson before her, Meghan is kept close enough for drama, but distant enough to prevent real influence. For Harry, this ambiguity feels like a prison, trapped between the world he left and the one he can't fully embrace. And so, what began as a simple speech turned into a public turning point.